that was the lovely Mauro in his little band, One on One and Slave for You. Morning, Mauro.
Morning, Ian. How are you?
Oh, I'm awake. That's all we have to worry about. The brain's not, but I am.
Yeah. By the way, thanks for playing my first single there with my duo One on One on Stock Aitken Walton. That was talking about Christmas. We got signed up over Christmas.
Oh wow!
Because our friend Mick Brown, that's on your breakfast show.
Yeah.
I had a record I'd made. I was trying to look for record deals at the time, going to Simon Cowell, who had his own label, through Pete and all sorts of people and CBS and everybody. Anyway, long story short, made my own acetate in the old days. That was a vinyl.
Yeah.
And I had 2 copies and I gave one to Mick Brown with my phone number on back when he was on Capitol. And anyway, he basically started playing it on Capital Radio. I was unsigned and at the time, and then the song got played around with other DJs on there, and he phones me up about a week later saying, because we do a lot of things with Pete Waterman, he's heard it and he wants to sign you up. And that was around Christmas. And it was crazy because, it was really crazy. And we got signed up. And then in January, I was on A Hitman and Her.
Brilliant. How good was that?
Oh, it was fantastic. Yeah, it shows how you can turn it around, and there's no real rules in this business, you know.
No, there wasn't. Well, there wasn't back then. There's no. The rules have all been thrown out the window now, thanks to the internet and social media and everything. I mean, you've had 2 albums recently. You've had your Rediscovered and the Rediscovered All Stars, and
yes,
they've just taken off because of social media and everything else, haven't they?
Oh, it was brilliant, yeah. Well, again, I was going to a lot of shows with a lot of the 80s and 90s artists performing, and I just thought, well, this is great, you know. There's also teenagers there, mums and everybody, and I thought, wouldn't it be lovely to get a lot of these artists together, but with new material like Lee John from Imagination, Sanita, Let Loose. We all know their original hits and everything, but I thought it would be lovely to have them on an album just with new material, but all together, you know, rather than the compilations you've had for 40 years or 30 years.
Yeah.
Know? And it's been doing really, really well. I mean, it's been really well received. And it's lovely for the artists because they've all said to me, thanks, Mauro, for putting us all together on an album, that was really good fun. And like you say, it's been doing really well.
Some of those artists brought out some great tunes. We were talking about it the other day, Wang Chung and Hot in Here. Yeah. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, because when I was talking to them, they said, we want to do this cover of Hot in Here because we were on American TV. We had to do our own song and a cover. And anyway, I said, what was the cover? And they said, Hot in Here. And I went, oh, wow. So I heard their version on television, actually on YouTube. And anyway, so, yeah, we ended up doing that, recording it, mixing it. And so it's a fantastic version. You know, in a way, I sort of like it better than the original.
So do I. I've got to be honest with you. Then the only letdown on the album is "Wake Me Up Before You Go." I'm sorry you had to do that with Mick Brown. Oh, really?
Well, instead of Mick and Pat, it was Mick and Mauro. But we had really good fun on that because we thought, it'd be fun to kick off the album. It's a fun album.
Of course it is. Of course it is, and it is a great tune. You did a throw it up in the air, see how it lands kind of version, and it was great. Because you made it your own.
We made it our own because with Yoad, by the way, Yoad helps produce all of my records. Yoad is a Grammy-winning producer. He worked with everybody from Sophie Ellis-Bextor to Ed Sheeran and all sorts. And he's really good. So when we were looking at that, he said, wouldn't it be great to, because it's not worth doing a cover if you're going to do it exactly like the original.
Oh, of course not. You might as well just play the original.
Yeah, so with that, it was fun to have a touch of faith on it. It's mainly Wake Me Up, but with a touch of faith. And also it was to do with, I love George too. And obviously we all love Wham. And it was a bit of homage to the 40th anniversary of Wham and George, really. So it was good fun, And talking about that, I've also got my own album out called Rewind that I had out for a while.
Oh, wow.
And the reason I called it Rewind because I've written a song. I write my own songs, and I've written a song that's called Heartbreak. That's like Motown, and another song that sounds like 60-ish, a bit beatly, called Learner for Your Love. Yeah. And then there's an 80s type track called King of Kings, which I wrote with Boy George and Rob Davis, who wrote Can't Get You Out of My Head for Kylie.
He was the guitarist in Mud.
And he was the guitarist in Mudge, yeah. So that's the fun thing there. So that's why, with that, I've always, released songs that I've written or originals, whatever. And that's why going to this now, I've been a fan of Presley since I was a kid, 5 years old. My mum gave me his 40 Greatest Hits, and that was my first love of music. And obviously, I got into everything else after that, the Beatles and everything.
Do you know that was my first Elvis record as well? Elvis's 40 Greatest Hits with his face on the front with a record behind him. Oh yeah,
yeah, brilliant, yeah. And the nice thing with that is I'm glad that was my first love of music, because he's the only artist to have had hits with every genre of music, like gospel, R&B, rock and roll, pop. So Latin, even It's Now or Never is a Latin Italian song. So it's great to have had your first sort of first thing with music and an amazing vocal and talent. So it was nice to have heard that and really getting into all sorts of music, and good old Elvis done that, So I thought, it's really nice now coming up to his 90th birthday to at last actually do a cover of an Elvis song, as a one-off, really.
Well, of course. I can't believe he would have been nice. You haven't taken one of the really big mainstream Elvis songs. You've taken a hit that is slightly under the radar.
Yeah, totally. Because I just believe that, with Elvis or any cover, but especially with Elvis, it's not worth covering. If you're going to cover a record, you don't want to do like Suspicious Minds or Return to Sender, Jailhouse Rock, and one of those. It's I just felt I've always loved this song, and I thought it's really nice to choose a song. Also, I want to bring Elvis's legacy to the fans too, and to new fans, and by doing this. Everyone's heard Return to Sender and Suspicious Minds and so many times. So if people are, people are streaming and downloading my song, and even new fans are going, is that Elvis song? And they start listening to the original, start listening to his other music. And for me, it's always about keeping his legacy alive too,
You've made a gateway, in other words.
Exactly.
Yeah. And let's get this straight and get this out there. You're not an Elvis impersonator. You're not doing an Elvis impression. You are paying homage to Elvis, because that's you can hear it. There's a lot of little Elvis nuances in there, but in your voice. But it's definitely not an imitation. It is you doing an Elvis song, and that is it, as an homage to Elvis. And his fans have taken it on board, haven't they?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I'm getting some great reactions from fans, and like you say. And lots of people have been, streaming and messaging me, and that was my main thing. I was conscious even when I was, you can't.
I hope you were conscious, otherwise they're in a quiet record.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I've done everything not to, go into sounding like him, if you see what I mean, because it's easy when you're recording it in his key to be singing it, and there's little bits where you think, I don't want to sound like him, I want to sound like me. And that's why, thanks for saying that. I've done everything to try and sound like myself, Yeah. I'm looking forward to, especially in January, because obviously that's January the 8th is his 90th. And there's a few surprises coming up then. And I talk about it nearer the time, but there's a lot of things that are going to be happening, especially for his birthday.
Have you been to Graceland?
Not yet. No, but I've got to go. It's one of those things that things happen, and you're doing this and you're doing that, and you just think, what? I'd love to go to Graceland. So I've definitely, it's one on my bucket list to go there.
But you met Lisa Marie.
I met Lisa. She was doing a show over here, and I was invited to a show, and that was fantastic. We spoke about her dad, and I told her that I was a fan. A fan, and her show was great. She was a songwriter and a singer too, and we spoke about singer-songwriter stuff, and also obviously Priscilla too, because I was so happy to be involved in the If I Can Dream album with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra that came out a few years ago. That again, for his legacy, put him back at number one, giving him his 14th number one album. Oh yeah, and that was fantastic. And on that, all I remember was the best part of that was being at Abbey Road Studios and his vocal being sent over, and all you heard was his voice, singing, and it felt like he was in the studio. It was such an amazing feeling, and you got shivers.
Must have been really
I remember the orchestra, the orchestra just there, and even that, all of us were just getting shivers, and that was fantastic. That was such a great great thing to be part of, and and through that, it was lovely to friends with Priscilla too, and speaking about Elvis, and it's just such a great experience.
Has it been submitted to the Heritage Chart?
Yeah, I did speak to Mike Reid the other day, and I sent it to him. Yeah, so I think it has already, or I've definitely sent it to him a couple of days ago. Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, we're going to play it in a minute. Before I let you go, what's your plans for Christmas, darling?
Oh, Christmas is this family, really. So just be, with family and mum, and
nice.
Just a load of us doing. Mixing Italian food with English. So there'd be sanya coming out and pasta plus roast. And so it's great because you just mix it all up, Yeah. I've got to say, the nice thing about that too is when I do go back to the village now and again, you can't beat the homemade wine they make and the homemade sausage. And I mean, the thing is, you can't buy that, and it's totally different taste because I'm from the south, and it's a place called Matera where they filmed the new James Bond movie there. The opening scene was filmed there, and Wonder Woman, and and because it's farmland, you just literally go there to taste the homemade food.
Well, look, I hope this song takes off for you, Mauro, because it is a brilliant version of Elvis's Suspicion. It is a wonderful homage to him. I'm playing it. Mick Brown will be playing it, but I'm playing it at the moment. I love it. It is brilliant. For the time being, I'm going to say thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for having me on, Ian, and thanks to everyone who streamed and downloaded, and thanks for everything.
No, you're more than welcome, Mauro. Very Merry Christmas and a happy, healthy and prosperous New Year.
Thanks. Merry Christmas to everyone who's listening. Take care.